from Studio A in Boston, Massachusetts, this is Ringside with What a Day. Catching you up on all the latest news inside and outside of the ring. Now let's go ringside with What a Day, Joe Lowry. Hey everybody, welcome to Ringside with What a Day. I'm your host, What a Day Joe, and today we're talking Liv and Rhea by the numbers. How hot are they, and how much longer will the WWE keep these two at the forefront of their programming? But as always, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening and so forth to this episode. And while you're here, do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. That'd be greatly appreciated. Let's kick things off right now with this week's Raw Top. This is your Raw Recap Top 5 Moments. Number 5, Drew McIntyre gets suspended again. Wait, what?
You are still suspended.
Number 4, Alpha Academy splits with Chad Gable and sides with Xavier Woods. Number 3, Bo Dallas appears, and so does the Wyatt Six. Number 2, must be Monday as you see Liv and Dom are going at it again, with Liv on top, of course. And then she slivers away. And the number 1 moment, Rhea Ripley returns, stakes her claim, and then says this.
I'm gonna end your career.
Be sure to like and subscribe to Ringside with What a Day. And as you can tell, folks, the top 2 moments this week, of course, are Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. Be sure to catch my Raw top 5 moments. That drops every Tuesday morning, of course, right after the Raw episode broadcast and so forth. So you want to check that out. Okay, so today we're talking Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, as well as Dominic Mysterio. You got to throw him in there and so forth. Well, the hold they have on WWE programming lately is just huge. Since WrestleMania and probably before that, I did put together a quick video. This is really just from this past Monday night and some of the numbers that I have accumulated. So let's check that out right now.
Very long weekend in Mexico, and I've always been known to be quite the screamer. So while mommy might finally be home, Liv is finally on top.
That's right, folks. As you can see, some impressive numbers there. Let's dive a little deeper on this. Okay, so the Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio segment that opened up Raw this past Monday night was the highest rated segment television-wise of the night for Raw. They did like 1.69 million viewers this week. They went up against the All-Star game. I mean, I should say the Home Run Derby. But that was the highest rated segment out of the whole night. And you had some great matches too. And you had Ilya Dragunov taking on Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title. We all know how that happened. And you had other stuff going on too, plus to build the SummerSlam matches and Gunther and all that. So believe it or not, that was the highest rated segment. The Liv Morgan landing on top of Dominic Mysterio and all these crazy positions they put themselves in every week. As of now, that whole segment garnered 5 million views on social media. That's just within 24 hours of broadcast. I'm sure if I ran the numbers up to date, they'd probably be higher than that. So, and then we have the photos. Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. They take these photos before Raw. If you could tell, they're wearing the same outfits and so forth in their segments and so forth. And what happens is they drop them the next day on their social media profiles. They drop them. So Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, they call them hype photos. They're released post-show, usually the next day. It gets people talking and so forth. And those numbers are huge. Over 3.5 million views combined since those photos were dropped. So the WWE knows what they're doing here. They're very smart. And the Liv Morgan and Dominic kiss from last month is still being viewed to this date. Over 65 million views. These are huge, impressive numbers. Now, we're all forgetting that summer is usually the downtime in the WWE post WrestleMania hangover. There's a slow build to SummerSlam and so forth, but they have hit the ground running since SummerSlam. And this Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, if you remember, I said talked about it last week's episode. Rhea Ripley took out Liv Morgan for 8 months, and then she came back right after WrestleMania and took out Rhea Ripley. Now Rhea Ripley's back and so forth. Now between the All-Star games, the Home Run Derby, you got the Olympics coming up, NFL training camp coming up. The WWE is like in the thick of it when it comes to TV time. So they're doing very well, extremely well for this time of year. And I don't know how they go off script with this. I know they have a huge match coming up at SummerSlam that was just announced this past Monday. In case you were living under a rock, this was announced right here. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley going at it at SummerSlam, one of many title matches at this year's SummerSlam. That's only in 3 weeks, by the way. August 3rd's really right around the corner. But let's talk about some other stuff. Liv Morgan, since that chair shot to Rhea Ripley that took her out in the Liv and Dom situation, Liv Morgan has passed Cody Rhodes as the highest seller for merchandise. Yes, the Liv on Top, the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour, all that stuff, selling extremely well to the point where she surpassed Cody Rhodes, which is amazing stuff right there. Rhea Ripley has new stuff coming out. She's back. Rhea's back. She's got a new shirt that says My Brutality Tour. That's over the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour shirt. It's kind of a neat concept. That's coming out now. I expect that to pass over Liv Morgan and so forth, unless something crazy happens. I don't see that happening. But Liv Morgan, to this day, to this hour, as we go to tape, continues to trend almost daily. Whether it's Liv Morgan Revenge Tour, whether it's Liv Morgan, any variation of Liv Morgan is trending. And that's whether or not there's a broadcast that night. And I'm talking SmackDown, NXT, or Raw. She continues to trend. So does the WWE end all this at SummerSlam? I mean, what happens to all this? I mean, like every good story, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. Are we at the middle? Are we at the end? And so forth. I have some ideas of what might be happening here. So just hear me out. You got some serious numbers that the WWE are playing with now. It's a great creative avenue. I like to say that creative avenue that the WWE has, because you have a lot of stuff. First thing that pops up to mind is Judgment Day. What happens to Judgment Day? How do they come into play at some point? They're in play. Liv helped JD McDonough and Finn Balor win the tag titles. That's a plus right there. We got Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley now. They're turning babyface. Do they separate themselves from the Judgment Day? We have Finn and Damian. They have a long-standing riff. As you recall, last year's Money in the Bank match, Finn Balor was about to capture it and was distracted by Damian Priest. And Damian Priest got the Money in the Bank suitcase. We all know what happened at WrestleMania this year. He cashed it in on Drew McIntyre. So, and let's go back to this year's WrestleMania after Damian Priest became champion. That next night on Raw, Damian and Finn Balor decided to put their grudge aside until, further notice. Is that coming to fruition? Is that going to be expiring and so forth? And then we have the other what ifs, the couple dominatrix here, Rhea and Dom and Liv and Rhea, Liv and Finn. There's so many creative avenues they can go with this. But what's really got me I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. What really got me going with this is the fact that these numbers that we're talking about with Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Dominic Mysterio, and the Judgment Day, these numbers you can't ignore. These are money-making numbers. Television ratings-wise, they're not needle movers, but then again, the needle has not moved in the WWE television-wise for years, not since the Attitude Era. You're not going to get the days of 12 to 14 million people tuning in anymore. That has a lot to do with streaming and networks and DVRs and all that stuff. But we gotta talk about SummerSlam. So we have Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan going at it here, and it's for the title. Now, of course, I like to dissect these pictures here. As you can see, Rhea Ripley is wearing a Dirty Dom dog collar, which means she's property of Dirty Dom. As we know, this past Monday Night at Raw, one of the last segments was that she told Dominic that he's mine. So we kind of know where that's aligning. Where does Liv Morgan feel this? Is she going to be the stray? Is she going to be the one to break it up? And so forth. My thoughts on this, writing-wise, not trying to mark out here or be a mark or something like that. I'm not trying to overindulge on this, but the The normal thing here would be for Liv to retain the title, whether it's by disqualification or having the Judgment Day interfere. We can go down that road. And the reason I say that is because this coming October, it's been introduced by Triple H, reintroduced, I should say, that the pay-per-view from the Attitude Era called Bad Blood. You guys remember Bad Blood? That was like the pay-per-view that had all the Hell in the Cell matches, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, all that stuff. That's back October 5th. I do believe Saturday, October 5th. They're going to be relaunching that pay-per-view. What better way to settle this feud than inside a cell match, right? So you can't have just Rhea win the title right away from Liv, because that just doesn't make sense at this point. But then again, I'm not the writers. I'm not hashing this backstage. I don't know what the end result is going to be. But what I can tell you is, from a wrestling standpoint, it would make not too great a sense to have Rhea all of a sudden just come back and win the title. We all know when we have these love triangles, what usually comes into play here is passions supersede wrestling maneuvers and all that stuff. You're so strung out on the passion aspect of it that you lose sight of the gold and all that stuff. In this case, it would be the fact that Rhea Ripley gets ticked off. Maybe there's a situation that Dominic comes down to ringside in all good intents purposes to help Rhea Ripley, and then he accidentally falls on Liv Morgan again. And this time you have Rhea Ripley right there to confront both Liv and Dom, and she snaps and loses and gets herself disqualified or whatever. I can see that playing out, because I don't think this will be the end of the feud. This feud to me is just heating up. If you want to go back to WrestleMania, it was the day after WrestleMania that Liv Morgan on Raw threw that chair at Rhea, and we already knew about a certain injury for Rhea Ripley, where she had to be on the shelf for a while, so she was written off TV. That's the beginning of the feud, and you can't have the ending this quick. She's just coming back now. From what I know, as of broadcast time, Rhea Ripley still is not cleared to wrestle. She should be by SummerSlam. So that gives a couple more weeks of this, running back and forth, Liv coming out, running away from Rhea and all that stuff with Dominic. So we might get a few more weeks of that to come into play. But as for this feud ending, this whole love triangle ending on SummerSlam, I doubt it. I think the WWE has struck gold with this. I think they gave Liv the ball to run with it, and she's at the goal line again. And she's, they're just scoring touchdowns every week. I mean, you can't argue with some of these numbers. So what will they have in store for this Monday night? Will it be another positional stronghold, no pun intended, for Liv and Dom? Will they end up on top of each other again and get all the views and the viewership and all that stuff? I think people expect that now. So you might see things steam off to the other side with we might get the Rhea and Dom show now with Liv back in the background again. Nonetheless, you're still going to build this thing up to SummerSlam, because I think this is going to be one of the better matches. I mean, I think Liv Morgan, wrestling wise, has really, really shown progress over the last few years. And Rhea Ripley is Rhea Ripley. She's been dominant since her Elimination Chamber win in Australia back in November. So I think it's going to be a very interesting SummerSlam between these two. I don't think this feud is going to end. I don't think it's going to. I think they're going to keep it going. As far as past Bad Blood, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, you never know. It depends on what kind of storylines they intervene with. Judgment Day is not out of the fold. Finn Balor and Damian not out of the fold. And don't forget, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley could turn babyface. They're already trending that way now. Makes no sense to keep them with the Judgment Day. One thing that I did notice last week on Raw was when Dominic said to Damian, "You're acting just like my father." And then Damian Priest said to Dominic, "Well, now I know why your father acted that way towards you." That's like, the writing's on the wall there. Damian Priest is treading back over to the babyface side, so to speak. So, and I think him and Finn will have another go-to match somewhere down the line. But nonetheless, you can't argue with those numbers. Strong numbers for Liv, Rhea, Dominic, Judgment Day, all that stuff. It's making for great TV, especially at the downtime of the year for the WWE. But, as always, like you, I'm going to tune in Monday night, see what's going on. And in case you don't know what's going on, you can always tune into my top 5 Raw episodes the next day. I post those shorts on Tuesday morning. So nonetheless, we'll be looking out for it. And we got a lot of good stuff coming up here at Ringside with that day. But that's going to do it for me, folks. coming to you from Studio B in Boston. Hey, by the way, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel as programming is beginning to amp up and you don't want to miss what's coming. Plus, you get notified on all that good stuff, especially when videos and shorts drop. Wait, that didn't sound good. Yeah, shorts drop. Okay, you know what I mean. Anytime a video is uploaded, you get notified. And the only way to do that is if you subscribe and like my videos. So you get the idea. But anyways, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and all that good stuff. Thanks for watching. I'm Joe Lowry for Ringside with What a Day. We'll see you next time.